Hello YouTubies, this is Joker Scribe and thanks for watching one of my amazing YouTube videos. And this is going to be the rant, guys. Oh my god, am I going to go out with this one? Right, so Emma Way, she was on the news recently and she was being interviewed by one of the presenters who was making me teeth throughout. I mean, it's so bloody annoying watching this brainwashing going on and them, you know, saying, "Oh darling, I feel so sorry for you and oh, you shouldn't tweet this, etc. This is wrong to tweet this about stars. This is wrong to tweet this about famous people, and you shouldn't tweet it about what you did today, about an accident you caused, etc." Let me just clarify something, right? So she's in a car and she's putting her makeup on or something while she's driving and speaking on the cell phone while swigging a bottle of shandy or whatever it is that this woman was actually doing, and she sees a biker. So I have to spit something out. She sees a cyclist, right? And then she decides, for whatever reason, that it's good to knock him off the bike and then drive off while he's injured and go on Twitter and tweet how glorious it was that she knocked him off the bike. She actually boasted about it and said, "Damn you, cyclist." And then she was found out because of the tweet, and she later said to the tabloids and to the journalists and on the news itself how sorry she was about the tweet. I don't know what's going on in some of your fucking heads. It's not the tweet that caused the issue. It's not the tweet. I can say, "Damn you, cyclist. I hope I drive one of you over at some point." And that doesn't mean anything. The problem is the fact that you rode somebody down. You mowed them down with your car. You failed to stop and you drove off. The tweet allowed you to be caught, which means that you regret being caught and you regret giving the evidence for you to be caught. It isn't the tweet that caused the problem. It was the fact that you mowed somebody down with your car and failed to stop. And also because you were a cold-blooded bitch. That's the problem. That's the reason why people are angry with you. And you go on the BBC while you're being interviewed and put on these fake tears. And I saw the little smirk on your face when you're giving the story, when you believe that people are starting to believe what you say. But there's a few problems with your story anyway. I'm surprised, the BBC broadcaster didn't even spot it. Firstly, you said you turned around at first and saw that he was upright. Yeah? So you knocked into somebody with your car and you noticed they were upright and they were fine. And then you drove home and wrote, "I definitely knocked somebody off their bike today." Can you see a little issue with that? Now, I know the court will look at this and say, "Oh, she's a woman. Oh, we got to butter them up. We got to keep them safe from these prisons because they don't do any evil at all." She admit to knocking somebody off the bike, but while she was on the program, she was blaming the other person, the cyclist, almost mocking them, and said that he was still standing up when she looked around, so that's why she drove off. But she said she definitely knocked somebody off the bike. So how can somebody be knocked off their bike and yet standing upright? Can you see a little issue there? Because his story says, no, he was still on the floor when you drove off, and I believe him. You're getting hit with a car and you get knocked off. You're going to be on the floor for a few minutes, definitely, because it probably really fucking hurts. But you don't care. All you care about is the tweet that you sent because you were caught because of it. There's so many issues I have with this story, as well as the BBC presenters, right? They said, when she said the tweet, "I regret the tweet," and he says, "Well, you talk about regretting the tweet," and then he carries on with that subject. He doesn't go off the subject and say, "But what about the person you knocked off the bike? Are you going to apologise because you injured him? Are you going to apologise for that? Are you just going to apologise for the tweet itself?" Because there's a big difference. It takes a bigger person to apologise, and you don't. The problem with you is you're a psychopathic little bitch, and you're getting away with stuff like this. You're using your car as an offensive weapon, And as far as I'm concerned, anybody who starts mowing people over on bikes or whatever, and then says, well, they're not paying road tax. Well, let me just say something about road tax, right? Nobody is really paying road tax. Well, we're all paying it if we're paying council tax. Because council tax is what covers the roads. That's what repairs the roads. That's what keeps them up to scratch. It's got nothing to do with the road tax that you're saying. What you're paying for with your car is to allow you to drive that car. That's the difference. But you also have to pay tax on bikes as well. And cyclists also have to pay tax on their push bikes. You have to pay for it before you get one. So this taxation stuff, oh, they shouldn't be on the roads because I pay my tax, so I have right of way and I can run them over. No, we're all paying tax for the roads, because if you're paying council tax, the council tax is covering the roads, so everybody is paying tax who is paying council tax. And because, I cycle myself, so I can see where this guy is coming from. And it's people like you who cause so much problems on the road, and then, play the victim once you get caught. If you could get away with it, you would have used your car as a weapon. You would have drove backwards and then rode him over, gone back and forth until he was flat, and then rode off and said, damn you cyclists, because it's just an inconvenience for you. I'm surprised that you're not in prison at some point because of the thing you did. Now I'm sure you will get away with it. I'm sure the court will see it in your favour simply because you're a woman, and you will play that woman card. And you will say, oh, the tweet was the biggest mistake of my life. Why don't you try apologising to the cyclist you knocked off, who you left there injured, and then you laughed and boasted about it on Twitter? Can you see where I'm coming from with this? You're at fault, not him. And just because you have a car, whether you pay tax for it or not, doesn't give you the right to use your car as a weapon. That's not what it's meant to be. It's just meant to get you from A to B. You've got to drive with due care, because you're getting a license to make sure you drive safely and you look out for these dangers. The cyclist is allowed to be on the roads, and the majority of cyclists, dare I say, are covering for the roads to be fixed and to be mended and to be made through their council tax. The tax you pay on your car to get that car disc is just another tax the government put out. We're all being taxed to fuck. It doesn't mean that you can use that car to barge through anything that gets on your nerves, anything that inconveniences you. And that's the way I see this woman. She is just an evil little witch, and she's going to get away with it. I don't really know what to say about these people anymore. You read about it and you realise that some of these psychopathic bitches, these are women, right? And she was sorry, and she thought it would make it okay if she was sorry about the tweet, but she never apologised for the cyclist, because they can't relate the two things together, and because of that they're so easy to spot. I don't know. I'm giving up. I'm giving up on everything, really. I'll just accept whatever comes my way nowadays. I'm sure this witch will probably see this video at some point and try to spread a smear campaign, but I'm surprised you're not in prison. I'm surprised you're not being held somewhere. You can't be in prison yet because you have to be trialed. It usually takes around about 10 years for that to happen. So you should really have a tag on you or something. You should have your license removed. But I still think that people who use their cars, as a weapon, are just as bad as people who use knives and guns, because it's just an easy way of them doing it. It's a cowardly way of them doing it, and they laugh about it later. She had a big smirk on her face. She boasted about it on Twitter. So it's okay and funny to mow somebody over with their car, even though that person hasn't actually done anything, and leave them there. You should be charged for more than one thing. Using your car as a weapon as well, which is attempted murder as far as I'm concerned. So thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.